On Maple Street, in a quiet town outside Columbus, Ohio, lived a boy named Ethan Cole. The street looked ordinary: small lawns, tired mailboxes, cracked sidewalks. But for Ethan, it was the entire world. His father worked night shifts at a warehouse, and his mother cleaned offices downtown. Money was never discussed openly in their house, but it was always present, like an invisible guest sitting at the table. Ethan noticed it in the way his parents hesitated before buying groceries, in the way bills were stacked neatly but nervously on the kitchen counter. He noticed it most clearly when school trips required fees. His parents always said yes, but their eyes said no. Ethan was not poor in spirit. He was curious. While other boys collected sneakers or baseball cards, Ethan collected questions. Why did some families move into big houses while others stayed forever in rented ones? Why did adults complain about money but never explain it? At age 12, Ethan found an old book in the town library titled The Long Game of Wealth. It wasn't flashy. No promises of overnight success. No bold claims. Just quiet ideas about time, discipline, and value. Ethan didn't understand everything, but one sentence burned into him. Money is not what you chase. It is what follows. He copied it into a notebook he carried everywhere. In high school, Ethan worked after class at a local grocery store. He watched people closely. Some customers bought without looking at prices. Others counted coins. Ethan realized wealth wasn't just about income. It was about control. Control over time. Control over choices. One night, while shelving canned food, he overheard two men talking. "I'm stuck," one said. "Been working for 20 years. Same job, same pay." The other replied, "You didn't build anything. You just survived." That sentence hit Ethan harder than any book. He began saving part of every paycheck, even when it meant skipping small pleasures. His friends laughed when he said no to movies or new phones. "You act like you're 40, they joked. Ethan smiled. He wasn't avoiding fun. He was buying options. After graduating high school, Ethan earned a scholarship to Ohio State University. While others partied, Ethan studied economics and computer science. Not because he wanted a high-paying job, but because he wanted to understand systems, how money moved, how value was created, how decisions compounded over time. During his sophomore year, His father injured his back and couldn't work for months. Medical bills arrived like storms. Ethan worked 2 jobs and sent money home. For the first time, he felt the weight of responsibility pressing on his chest. One night, exhausted, he wrote in his notebook, "I don't want to be rich to feel superior. I want to be rich to remove fear." That was the truth that shaped everything that followed. After college, Ethan moved to Austin, Texas, drawn by its growing tech scene. He took a modest job at a startup, not glamorous, but educational. He wasn't the smartest person in the room, but he was the most observant. He noticed how founders spoke differently about money. They didn't talk about salaries. They talked about ownership. Ethan invested his savings into a small app idea with 2 coworkers. The app failed within 8 months. The money was gone. For weeks, Ethan felt hollow. He replayed every mistake. He questioned his intelligence, his discipline, his dreams. One evening, he met an older man named Calvin Brooks at a coffee shop. Calvin had sold 2 businesses and now mentored young entrepreneurs. Ethan didn't ask for advice. He just talked. Calvin listened. Finally, Calvin said, "You didn't lose money. You paid tuition." Ethan frowned. "Most people never enroll," Calvin continued. "They fear loss more than they desire growth." Calvin explained something Ethan had never fully understood. Failure is data. The rich didn't avoid mistakes. They structured mistakes to be survivable. Ethan began again slowly. He freelanced, learned market research, studied customer behavior. He built skills before chasing profits. He stopped asking, "How can I make money fast?" and started asking, "How can I create something useful?" Years passed. Ethan lived modestly while peers upgraded lifestyles. He invested steadily, learned patience, and resisted envy. Social media showed people his age living luxuriously. Ethan felt doubt creep in, but he remembered the notebook. Money follows. At 32, Ethan co-founded a logistics software company in Denver, Colorado. The product wasn't revolutionary, but it solved a boring, expensive problem for small businesses. The company grew quietly. No headlines, no viral posts, just steady contracts. Then came the acquisition offer. When the deal closed, Ethan stared at the number on the screen. It was more money than his family had earned in generations. but the feeling surprised him. He wasn't euphoric. He wasn't emotional. He felt calm. Ethan paid off his parents' debts, bought them a home, invested most of the rest. He didn't change his lifestyle drastically. He changed his schedule. He mentored others. He read. He exercised. He slept without anxiety. One night, he reopened his old notebook and wrote, "Becoming rich didn't change who I am. It proved who I already was." Years later, Ethan spoke at a small university in Ohio. A student asked, "What's the secret to becoming rich?" Ethan paused. "The truth," he said. "Most people don't want wealth. They want the appearance of it." He explained that real wealth requires delayed pleasure, emotional discipline, humility, and long-term thinking. It requires being misunderstood for years. "Rich isn't loud," Ethan said. "Rich is quiet. It grows while no one is watching." As he walked off the stage, Ethan realized the journey wasn't about money at all. It was about freedom earned honestly, patiently, and intentionally. And that was the truth of becoming rich. Moral of the story: the true path to becoming rich is not through shortcuts, luck, or showing wealth, but through patience, discipline, learning, and purpose. Real wealth is built quietly over time by creating value, accepting failure as a teacher, and choosing long-term freedom over short-term pleasure. Money follows those who focus on growth, responsibility, and control over their choices, not those who chase quick rewards or appearances.